So there's a little bit of a trail here. And this is the creek I heard. Alright, looks like I found it. Found a way through. Alright, so I am in Adams County, Pennsylvania, on a trail looking for a historic artifact. That's not really too much to look at once you see it, so I don't want anybody to be disappointed. This isn't going to be some old ruins or anything, but it's kind of a neat historic artifact that has been lost in the forest of central Pennsylvania for over a century now. And I found it last year, about a year ago, but I found it by having to fight my way through the forest. As far as I know, there's no direct trail leading to it, so I kind of had to fight my way through a lot of brush. Basically, it was a mile from the road, and I had to fight through. It took me 2 hours just to get to it, so that was how much I had to fight through the brush to get to it. So what I'm hoping now is to have a little bit easier time, walk a little bit further to it, but partially take this trail and see if that'll get me closer to it, so I'm not having to fight through so much brush. And then I'll tell you a little bit about it. And I am along Piney Mountain Road, it's called. It's a dirt road, unpaved road, whatever you want to call it. Now there is a gate that's open. I don't know if it's ever closed or not. Both times I've been back here it's been open, so I don't know if it gets closed off during the winter or not. So this item I am trying to find, these items are actually items, they were all over the country and they were put in place and they served one particular purpose, and then they became obsolete after, by about the, I guess the 1920s or 30s, they sort of no longer were needed. And this one is not in good shape, and when you're looking at it from the ground, you couldn't even really tell, unless you knew what you were looking for. You wouldn't even know it was anything special. And these things are all over the country. Some of them, from what I understand, are in pretty good shape, and then others are not, because most of them have never really been taken care of, because they were just sort of left forgotten. But they would have been important. In the early 20th century. So I'm hoping this trail will get me to it, let me get closer to it. Alright, so the trail I was on led me to what's probably an old logging road. Alright, so the logging road I was on kind of just turned into a regular trail. So I came up there, then I did come up one where I knew it was supposed to, according to the All Trails app. I gotta give those guys credit, it's really good. This is where it was supposed to split, and it did, so it is showing this is the Lippincott Trail again. So that was what I had started on. Alright, so essentially I'm up on top of the mountain now. I think what I have to do now is leave the trail, because the trail is taking me further away now. So I think I have to go off the trail now and then just head off in this direction, and I think I'll find it. So, but I'm past the stuff that's really the thick stuff that I had to fight through last year, so what I'm looking for should be off in here somewhere. But I've been a half a mile away from it, or between a half a mile and 6/10 of a mile away for quite a while now, because I'm just kind of going around it. But now I was starting to go further away, so I figure the only way now is just to trust the Google GPS like I did last year, and it should get me right there on the points. So hopefully I will find it very soon. It is kind of thickened through here, but not nearly as much as I went through last year. So this is just plant growth, you know, little bits. But hope I'm getting to the right spot. I kind of keep checking the Google Maps because I'm just kind of trying to go in a straight line. Yeah, I get closer and it seems like I veer off course and get further. So just trying to follow a straight line basically. So I can understand why these aren't well-known artifacts, because I don't think too many people want to come through a place like this just to look for something. But yeah, I'm 4/10 of a mile from it now. When I left the trail, I was about 6/10 of a mile away. Alright, as I mentioned earlier, I'm still about a little over 1/10 of a mile away. As I mentioned before, there were some really cool rock formations in the area too. So it's like I'm coming up on a set here, so I wanted to put the camera back on here and take a check out this rock here before I head back on. So there were like large numbers of these, and then a lot of them bigger too that I noticed on the other side. So, but I'm up on top of a mountain now, but there's a lot of these. The other thing I remembered about this artifact too that I'm looking for, there were poles near them too, metal poles sticking out of the ground too, so kind of make it easier to find. But I don't expect too many people are going to come up here looking for them, because you gotta come through a lot of brush to find these. So I think this area up here, you're all by yourself up here, and so. But alright, gotta save the battery until I get to a location. Alright, so one thing I noticed from last year is I am within 1/10 of a mile now, and now it's measuring the distance by feet. So it's telling me I'm 300 feet away from what I'm looking for. So last year I came up over the mountain here, and that was where all the thick, heavy stuff was. So now I've come back here where it's considerably easier. Alright, some more of these cool rock formations as I get closer to what I'm looking for. But yeah, I like these rocks. Getting close to what I'm looking for, but I can try and give a description then as to where this is. But like I said, I don't expect too many people are going to come looking for it, because it's you got to kind of go through. You got to not mind getting yourself into going off trail and to find this. So not the easiest spot to get to, but I'm within a couple hundred feet now. So I just got to kind of keep looking for them now. This is a point where I just kind of like look until I see them. Alright, I finally found what I'm looking for. The Google app, it told me I was going towards it, then suddenly it told me I was past it. So I turned around and went back, and then it told me I was further away from it, so I didn't know where the heck it was. But so then when it told me, so I redid the GPS coordinates, and it said I was back to being 1/10 of a mile away. So now I went back in the original direction, and I just found what I was looking for. So, as I said earlier, or as I think I said earlier, not going to be the most impressive abandoned site you're going to see today, or this year, or any other time. But it's just a neat historical story. So the reason why it was so hard to find is because it's not really meant to be seen from the forest floor. It's meant to be seen from above, and this is it. And over there goes the metal pole for it too. So let's see if you can figure this out here. What would you need to see from high above a century ago? A giant arrow. So you can see the point here. A very well carved arrow. It's just in many pieces now. So why would there be a giant arrow in the middle of a forest in Pennsylvania? But it goes all the way back here, so you can see how flat it is here. So the drone might give a better view of it, but you can see you have this giant arrow here on the forest floor on a mountaintop in central Pennsylvania. Why would this have been put here over a century ago? Because of the new technology of our airplanes. Because back then they didn't have the radar and the radios and all the fancy gadgets they have today. So they went east and west by way of giant arrows on the ground. And there's one of these arrows in Michoud State Forest in Adams County, Franklin County area. I think this is the Adams County, but it's just north of Caledonia State Park. So last year I came up through the forest this way, where I fought through for 2 hours. This time I took the trails, and it still probably took me about 2 hours. So, but it was at least an easier 2 hours than fighting through the brush and everything. So I don't have much battery power left, so I'm going to head back. And maybe I'll say something again as I go back, but basically this is what I was looking for. So I just think this is really cool. I was here last year, but I never posted a video about it, just because, like I said, I didn't think anybody wanted to see me fighting through the forest for 2 hours. But if you decide to look for it, it might be easier to find these metal poles here. But it's just really kind of neat. But yeah, I kind of wish I had my drone. I think that would give it a slightly better look. But I did not see a second one either, so I'm thinking this might be the only one. If anybody knows if there is a second one pointing in the opposite direction, you can let me know. And let me know. I know there's others around the country. I don't know of any in the eastern U.S., but I think this one pointed specifically to Philadelphia. So then the pilots, when they're up high in the sky, they could look down and say, hey, I'm going to Philadelphia or New York or whichever direction. I think this one pointed to Philadelphia from what I understand now. So if that's it now, there are more cool rock formations down that way, but I'm not going to go down and take a look at them right now just because I want to get back. If I still have some of the pictures from last year, maybe I'll show some of those too. But this was the main attraction here. So these giant arrows that were all over the country for aircraft directions 100 years ago. So I hope you liked it. I just thought it was a neat piece of history, and like I said, when I first heard about these things, I decided I would see if there were any in Pennsylvania. When I found out there was this one, I knew I had to try to find it. It's not easy to get to, and but once you find it, it's really a cool thing to find something like this. This really is a forgotten piece of history, and I don't want to step on it because I'm worried that parts of it will break, because I actually think last year one of them cracked when I walked on them. So right now they seem okay, but yeah, but I don't want to be responsible for breaking history. But you can kind of tell some of them sound like they're pretty solid in there, and others are kind of iffy, but that is just so cool. So that's what I was looking for, and second time I found it now. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna try to fight my way back up to the trail and then head out of here so I can recharge my camera and maybe try to get to one other site today. I was hoping to actually get to more sites, but not gonna happen. So there's another site not too far from here that I want to try to go back to. Used to be a favorite fishing spot for me when I was young, so might try to head down there. Alright, as always, thank you for watching, and I just still think this is so cool. So thank you for watching, and trying to get a better shot of it. My drone would really get a better shot of it, but yeah, so could try to climb that tree, but no, it's not gonna happen. But alright, well, thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this video. You know the situation. If you liked it, subscribe, hit the like button, share, comment, whatever you want to do. It's always appreciated, and I thank you very much. I'm standing right on the thing, and Google Maps is telling me I'm still 49 feet away from it. I don't know about Google Maps sometimes. It's a great tool, but not always exactly precise. Alright, later.